when we're watching a movie, I have a rule
Yeah.
that Anita knows. For the first 10 minutes, she cannot say a word. That's a rule.
It's actually a good rule.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I would stretch that out, not necessarily for the first 10 minutes, but for the entire movie. Because one of the things that I've found personally, she will ask me questions like, "Oh, was he really gonna do that?" Or, you know, does she really love him though? I mean, what is it that she's exactly saying? And I'm watching the same fucking movie as you are. We're sitting 10 fucking inches from each other. How is it that you're asking me? Did you walk out somehow and,
Right.
go to the bathroom, take a dump, go to, get something to drink? I mean, you've been sitting here. Why are you asking me this fucking question? I don't want to say that it's all females, but I would say that 100% of the females that I've known that I've watched movies with have asked me questions while the movie is happening.
That's sexist.
Yeah, it's a fact. Speaking of Oklahoma and Iowa, Tony Ramos.
Well, we weren't speaking of Iowa, but yeah, Tony Ramos from Iowa.
Well, he initially wanted to go to Oklahoma.
Oh, he did?
Right. So when he was in Illinois, when he was wrestling in Illinois, his first pick was actually Oklahoma. Would he have been successful? Had he come up through that Oklahoma State sort of wrestling program versus how he did as a Buckeye.
Oklahoma or Oklahoma State? There's a difference. And if you mix those up in Oklahoma, you'll get your ass whipped.
It just shows you how much I know about NCAA wrestling. But
yeah, me either.
Where was I going with this? Oh,
Yeah.
Ramos.
Yeah, I did an interview with them yesterday. There's something about Oklahoma, Iowa type wrestlers that they are just, like, the way that they talk is so direct, so on point, so focused. And talking to them, I'm like, I just feel inferior.
Yeah. Well,
you've written before.
I have written before.
I've always been drawn to jobs that require a lot out of you that don't pay.
Don't become too attached to your work. Somebody's going to come in after your end product.
Right.
After you turn in your end product, somebody's going to go in and they're just going to fuck it up. Michelangelo, paints the Sistine Chapel. I mean, that's the one who did that, right? So he paints the ceiling, and then somebody comes in after him, like maybe an hour after him, and it says, there's not enough cocks here. We're gonna have to paint 2 more cocks here, 3 more cocks here, maybe a bowl of cherries, and then says, okay, we're all done, and then walks away. You will put out this piece, which you've, obviously grown very attached to. I mean, it came through your brain, onto the paper, so obviously you've formed a certain sort of attachment to it, and 10 minutes later, there's a bunch of cocks on it that you weren't expecting, and then a bowl of cherries.
I think a good editor will know, like, when there's too many cocks on the... I don't think it's the best thing that ever happened to me, but it's definitely a very memorable moment. I got the call saying that I was going to be on The Ultimate Fighter.
See, that's something that's good. I like that.
That was memorable. How about you?
So it was a bakery, 1983. I bought a roast beef sandwich. Okay. And it had the shredded lettuce, tomato, the shredded lettuce. I guess I used to call it shreddis because it's shredded lettuce, and then it had oil and vinegar, and it had yellow cheese. But this was the most amazing sandwich. There's a lot of ways that you could fuck a sandwich up. So when you get a really good sandwich, it's the sort of thing that sticks with you. And this was, for me, one of my best memories, all-time memories, was the sandwich
from 1983.
November of 1983.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
Over 30 years ago.
Oh wow, that's the fact that you can remember a sandwich 30 years ago. That must have been a pretty damn good sandwich.
It was a good sandwich. Every 10 years or so, I retell this story.
Huh.
And none of it changes. It's always the sandwich. I always go back to the sandwich.
Wow.
So 2010, talking about, like things that I remember most and that, that I was really, in many ways shaped by, and it was, that moment, buying that sandwich, eating that sandwich out on, but, no other sandwich has really ever compared with that particular sandwich. But like I said, every 10 years, somebody asks me, what's your best memory? And I go right back to that.
Yeah, well, oh man, that's deep, dude. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, appreciate that. Awesome.
Great.
Thanks, dudes.